Welcome to Video Game Rescue. My name is Dustin. This is episode 34 of the podcast that brings an old friend back to life. And as always, Kevin has joined us again.
What up?
And today we have special guest Hugh from the RetroLeague.com.
Hey, what's going on?
Awesome. So let's go ahead and just tell everybody about your website and your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So I host the Retro League podcast along with Jungle Rat Rob. We're the two regulars, and we have guests on from time to time. And we've been doing a weekly podcast for a little over 3 years now, which kind of surprises me because I'm sure when we started, we thought we'd do about 6 episodes and then lose interest.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It becomes a hobby, and not really more than just a hobby. It's just something that you do every Tuesday. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's been for us. As we record usually Sunday at the same time every week, and it's almost therapeutic, you know, because in real life you don't meet that many retro game enthusiasts.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a little different for me because the way maybe you probably don't know about me, but I own a small video game store, and I do meet a lot more people normally. I mean, the internet has been tremendous for me as far as it comes to my business.
No, I work in a boring office, you know, writing code all day, and there are a few people that are into gaming, but for the most part, you know, office people are, if they're into gaming, they're into like Call of Duty 4 or whatever the current one is. And no offense to Call of Duty fans, just, you know, I've always been more of a retro gaming fan.
I think you and Kevin are made from the same cloth.
Yeah, except for where I work, even though I write code, there's like 3 or 4 people that are about my age, and everyone else is probably like 50 years old or older, and they're all older women. Because I work in a accounting department, even though I program code, so some days I feel slightly out of place.
Right. I'm sure most of them, they probably play Tetris and Angry Birds.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, they're great games. I mean, I wonder, people are going to want to play Angry Birds 10 years from now. I mean, imagine the generations that are playing that game right now.
Yeah. Well, you know what struck me is I talked about this, probably like a year ago on the Retro League, how I was shocked. I went to the mall, and there was an Angry Birds store at the mall. And that's how, like, you know, how big this game has gotten. You don't see a Legend of Zelda store. You don't see a Super Mario Brothers store. You don't see a Tetris store. But there's a full-blown Angry Birds store that just sold nothing but Angry Birds merchandise.
That's insane. I mean, I've seen the toys and stuff like that, but I haven't seen the store. I mean, that you can equate that similar to, not equate that, what does that mean? But that's the same thing as having Nintendo Land in New York. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
like Pokemon Center.
Exactly. I mean, this game is going to be this generation's Mario.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, it's going to be around for years, and, you know, one day we'll have some kind of newfangled tablets, probably things that project directly into your eyeballs. Maybe you know, implant them in your head or something, and you'll be able to get like Angry Birds Classic on there, or Angry Birds 3000, or whatever they're up to by then.
Yeah, you are the Angry Bird.
Right. Running around, running into walls and stuff. Yeah.
That's going to be great. I'm ready for the Matrix. Bring it on.
I've seen that movie way too many times to be excited for that.
It's all right. I'd be the guy, I'd be like, you know what? I want to be someone important. You know, that'd be me.
And I'll be the guy with my Genesis sitting there trying to tell everyone why it sucks and they shouldn't use it.
But yeah, you guys started recently, changed a little up with your podcast. You do more than just a podcast now. You do the Google Hangout where you have the video.
Well, yeah, we started hooking up cameras for the podcast, awesome. And streaming the episodes live on Google Plus, which is kind of cool. So we've been using Skype for a while. We weren't real happy with Skype because it broke a lot. And we decided to try these Google Plus Hangouts, which is some new thing Google's doing. Kind of their competitor to Skype, except you can't make phone calls on it. And at first it was extremely buggy. We almost gave up on it, but we decided to stick with it. And the feature that really sold us is that it streams your recordings directly onto YouTube, so people can like watch while you record. If you have nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon, you can actually watch us do a podcast. And
that's really neat.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that exciting. It's 2 guys sitting in chairs, but sometimes we like wave games in front of the cameras and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's really cool. I mean, that's similar to the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know if either one of you are familiar with that, but he does something similar on Ustream.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. We don't do like a lot of screenshots or videos yet. We haven't got that sophisticated yet, but it's been fun. It's another way people can check out the show. And if you want to see copies of like Rescue the Embassy Mission, which I just picked up live, you can see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's something that I had definitely considered about doing for this podcast. I mean, today was the first time I uploaded a full podcast onto YouTube. And basically what I did was just added funny video game pictures along with the podcast. There's no actual video to it. It's just a bunch of pictures that follow while we're talking. So
yeah,
just another way to get a hold of the podcast, which has been great. I mean, I didn't really whenever we started doing this, I didn't realize there was anybody else doing what we did.
A lot of stuff has come and gone over the years. We started the Retro League because we were fans of another podcast called the Nintendo Retrocast.
Mm-hmm.
They did a little over 60 episodes, and eventually, their real lives caught up with them, and they stopped doing the show. And a few of us that were fans said, hey, the guys that did the Nintendo Retrocast were just two regular guys who liked Nintendo. I mean, These weren't like Nintendo experts. These weren't former employees. They were just regular dudes who liked Nintendo. So if they can do it, we can pretty much do it. And we did.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I started doing this, I was by myself, just kind of like, you know what, I have something to say about video games, and I'm going to say it. And that's where it started. And then I think, 5 or 6 episodes, me and Kevin got together and started doing it together.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so we've been just sharing our different experiences. Because Kevin has a pretty large collection, and I'm in the process of starting collecting again after being sober, I guess you could say.
Well,
but
I figure that's kind of hard with the store, right? Because you probably get stuff traded in that you really want to keep for yourself, but at the same time, you got to make a profit, right? I mean, you got to sell things to stay in business. So you get someone trades in, I don't know, a Snatcher for Sega CD, something that's really hard to get, and you probably got to decide: are you going to keep that, or are you going to sell it?
Yeah, that's I've made a decision prior to taking on the store in collecting. I decided I'm only going to collect one system. I've said this previous on the other podcasts and whatnot, but I figured if I kept it just to one system, and that's all I really did, then I could contain the monster.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Yeah, I tried that once. That only lasts for so long. I hate to break it to you.
But I mean, yeah, I'm sure eventually it'll get to pretty crazy lengths. But this past weekend, I got a sealed 4-way multi-plug controller for NES. Forgot the 4-port. What the hell is it called?
Well, 4-score.
4-score. Yeah, I got one of those. Somebody traded one of those in sealed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the newest cool piece I have in the store, which is in a display case. And I forgot to take pictures of it this weekend. But I'll have it up probably next week. I'll have a picture of it. I was very impressed at how good the seal was, and that no one had opened this up in 30 years almost.
Now I'm trying to figure out what the 4-player NES games are, because I remember that gadget, and I think I was going to say Gauntlet, but I'm pretty sure Gauntlet is only a 2-player game on the NES.
What do you think, Kevin?
I bet there's a sports game out there somewhere.
Yeah, I was thinking football. 10-yard something.
10-yard dash was a really early game. I don't know.
Let's Google this. 4-player NES games.
NES games.
Let's see here.
Like Genesis, Super Nintendo, I can probably name a dozen.
Here we go. Good old Digit Press. There's actually just quite a few of them.
Really?
Championship Bowling, Fast Break, Gauntlet 2, Golf Power, Harlem Globetrotters. 2 questions I have that in my mind. Could I please have a complete list of 4-player NES games? Yeah, license or no? Yeah, Mule, Monster Truck Rally, Nightmare on Elm Street.
How do you play Nightmare on Elm Street 4-player?
I don't know. This is a list. Maybe unless this guy's trolling. He's even trolling hard. He double scored.
I see it on Wikipedia here too. I don't want to play that game 1-player. Jeez.
It's crazy. But yeah, that got traded in. and a guy. What else did this guy trade in? He traded in. I guess maybe he's just trying to get rid of parts of his collection. He has 2 kids now, and I'm not sure. Maybe he's just trying to clear some stuff out. But he brought me that. What else did he bring me? God, he brought me a lot of stuff that's just like random. Like he knew he had something. Like he had some Atari games that were they weren't like dollar Atari games. I think like the Mario Brothers for the 5200.
Oh yeah.
And a couple other ones. But yeah, it's interesting to see what people bring to you, because I'm pretty much the only person around for at least 15 miles that does any retro gaming related stuff.
Yeah.
So I get some pretty crazy stuff in there. I mean, I'm not to the point where I have like this big store yet. That's the next process of the thing. I have I'm basically got a flea market, but I have a storefront.
Okay. Yeah. There's one of those down in Buffalo Grove, not too far from here. I've seen guys got probably similar stuff to yours, but this guy's got like a ton of Sega CD and other kind of, I wouldn't say obscure, but kind of hard to find systems there.
Yeah, I have probably the nicest collection that I have are NES games. I probably have about 400 NES games for sale, and around 200-300 SNES. On retro stuff, I have probably around 200 or so Genesis. And I'm starting to bulk up on certain collections that I have to offer to other collectors. Because I'm lucky enough where I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, and there's the retro market here is growing. People are into it. Collectors are actually here, and they're finding me over the internet, which is really crazy. So I'm starting to add stuff that I know these people are looking for. Because if I offer these things, maybe they'll try to change the direction of their collection, or maybe I can help provide to their collection. Like the one I'm bulking up right now is Sega Master System games.
Oh yeah.
I've probably every week I've added probably around 5 Master System games a weekend, which is pretty good if you think about it. How often do you see them in the box or see them at all?
Yeah, pretty rare. I mean, I've seen them at like a thrift store 1 or 2 times. Sometimes half price folks might have one. It always kind of seems like an accident when they have it, because they price it for like $1 and stick it in the clearance section right away, because they don't really know what they have.
Exactly, yeah. You can find some crazy stuff like that. You still there, Kevin? I think you may have died on us.
Yeah. No, my system's still running.
Oh, that didn't sound good.
Now, do you ever take your inventory up to like a classic game show, like when they have like a classic gaming convention and all the vendors set up?
That is going to be probably next year is when I'll start actually going to conventions. My first one is going to be MagFest. I'll be there in January, but I'm not going to be there selling. I'm going to be there as the podcast. But I'm also probably the year after that, then I'll probably be showing up to some of these places with inventory to sell.
Cool.
But that would be awesome. I mean, what conventions do you guys go to?
It's funny. Neither of us. The funny story about the Retro League is the 2 regular hosts here, we've never met. We've only ever met online. It's kind of funny because the other host, he grew up in, and I messed the name up, but basically Wisconsin Dells in that area. And I had probably, as a young adult, gone up to Wisconsin Dells, a dozen times. And he and I had probably been in the same town numerous times, but we've never actually met in person because there was no internet when I was traveling up to Wisconsin Dells.
Wow.
But the one I go to is every year is the Midwest Gaming Classic up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I really want to go to that.
Yeah, it's a great show. Tons of vendors. It's near Chicago. I mean, I know it's called not the Milwaukee. It's called the Midwest Gaming Classic, and it takes place in Milwaukee. But Milwaukee is 45 minutes away from Chicago.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to go to that one, but I'm trying to get through Christmas first.
Yeah.
and see how much money I actually spend when I'm up in MagFest, because right now I'm just crashing on the floor of the hotel of the 8BitX, the radio station we're on. They're having coverage of the whole MagFest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, see, I've never tried to set up a podcast at Midwest Gaming Classic because I feel like I'd miss out on all the things I want to do there.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably... majority of the time I'm going to be quote-unquote working because I'll be considered staff. But still, all I had to do is pay for a flight up there. So that's not bad. Jacksonville straight to Reagan Airport, $200.
Oh yeah, because you can probably get a Southwest or something. Yeah.
Just get it nice and cheap. But yeah, the next one I really want to go to that one, and Kevin's still up in the air. But if Kevin can go, I'm definitely gonna make an even harder effort to go, because then that'd be the first time we actually met too.
Yeah, and there's really no finer town than Milwaukee in March. So.
Yeah, I've been there. I saw a Brewers game in there about 2-3 years ago. Cubs versus the Brewers. And those are the nicest drunk people I've ever been around.
Yeah, Cubs fans are they're used to losing, so they always take it in stride. I assume they lost that game because the Cubs lose every game, right?
Actually, I think they may have won. I don't know. I don't remember much. I was drinking pretty heavily, so.
Yeah.
This is a $7 or $8. I think it was $7 or $8 for a beer. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's why you got a tailgate there.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. I know that next time. But yeah, Kevin, you generally go to the one there in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I normally go to CGE and actually know a bunch of people there. I'm actually friends with Joe Santulli, who actually runs it, and so I can normally hang out with a lot of those people for most of the time. So it's kind of nice because, being a gamer and a little bit of a nerd, going up to a convention like that and not knowing anyone kind of sucks, unfortunately. I found that out the first time I went before I went and really found out who the hell everyone was. And then I just kind of forced myself to learn who people were, make friends, and knowing people at those places is key to having a very, very awesome time. Even if, you only met them on the internet, just knowing people there just makes a world of a difference having fun at one of those places.
I can imagine. I mean, have you guys seen the Game Chasers?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you see how much fun they have going and meet people they've only met on the internet. It's like me and Kevin meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, I'm hoping one day the Game Chasers get a show on TLC. One of these networks that just runs which one runs Storage Wars? Is it A&E or TLC?
Yeah, I think
it's one of those two.
Regardless.
But anyways, yeah, the Game Chasers would fit in on that perfectly.
Yeah, whenever I first found them, I was like, when I first started really doing the podcast stuff, which was in March, I started doing a little bit messing around with YouTube, and then I found them. I'm like, son of a bitch, they already did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought about that idea too. Taking a camera to the different flea markets and garage sales and so on in the Chicago area, and they did it first. And the nice thing about where they are, I guess they're down in Texas where it's warm year round, so they have year round flea markets. And out here, there are a couple indoor flea markets, but a lot of them close in winter too. I mean, it's just the winters here are so brutal that nobody wants to open.
Yeah, I feel you there. So you live in Chicago?
Yeah, northern suburbs.
Okay, yeah. So chances are I probably will be at the next convention up there, because I have friends that live in Chicago, and I've been up there a couple of times. But yeah, it's crazy. I never got to go game hunting up there, but down here, yeah, we have. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, so we have tons of flea markets. I think we have 6 in the area, and they're open year round. So it's hunting all the time.
Yeah, we've got. I've got. I want to say 2 within driving distance, and one of them's outdoor, so it's shut down for the year. And the other one is one I just mentioned. They've got one big retro gaming store, and the rest of it is just basically junk. I mean, it just looks like people that drove through neighborhoods and picked up stuff off the curb and brought it to the flea market.
But those can be fun, though. They can be. We have one like that. It's every Wednesday, and that's what it looks like. So people just got people's junk from the attic or off the side of the road and just threw it. They literally throw it on the ground.
Yeah.
And and they all have their little designated square that they're in, and it's pretty awesome because that's where you find some of the real gems. The most obscure stuff that I've personally found have always been something like that.
Yeah, the most obscure things I've ever found have been at half-price books. I don't know what states they've expanded to yet. Do you have half-price books in Jacksonville?
No.
So it's a used bookstore chain. They're all over Illinois. I think they're all over Texas. I think they started in Texas, maybe. And they sell used books, but they also sell used video games and other, used not really used electronics, but used software, used video games. And for like common systems, they kind of know what they have. And PlayStation 2 games there are about what you pay on eBay, and NES games are about what you'd pay for on eBay. But if they get like 3DO or Saturn or Sega CD or Master System, they have no clue what those games are.
Yeah, they just try to push them as quickly as they can.
Right, so they just stick a $1 price sticker on them, and they go on the video game clearance shelf, and you check that out, and I've got, half my Saturn library is from there. Damn. And probably I don't say the rarest item, but one of the more rare items I have is I found a Space Ace Laserdisc there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was just in the bin of Laserdiscs. I don't even know why. You know what it was, is I was waiting in line at checkout, and the bin of Laserdiscs was near the checkout, so I was just sort of leafing through it. I think I was looking for Star Wars, because even though I don't have a Laserdisc player, I would buy one if I got a copy of Star Wars on Laserdisc.
Any true fan would. Right,
because it's got the Han Shoots First edit on there. But then there's one thing, it's just a white envelope, and it just says Space Ace on the in the corner of the envelope, and I pull it out, and it's Space Ace arcade Laserdisc.
That's really cool. See, I've never found anything like that. Not yet. I will eventually. I feel like it's being that I'm down here, Jacksonville isn't as old as Chicago.
Yeah.
And you don't have little pockets of areas that'll have stuff that are in a wider area. Because here in Jacksonville, I guess we really didn't blow up till like the 90s. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like when I go garage sailing, I won't go into any neighborhood that's less than 30 years old.
That's a good rule. See, unfortunately here, the overwhelming majority of our houses are, 10 years old.
Yeah, it's something I run into as well, living out here in Vegas, since it's a pretty new city still.
Yeah, everybody who moved in threw out all their old stuff when they moved into the house, probably.
Yeah, it's harder, but I do get some neat stuff that comes through, because like I said, I've got the corner when it comes to the retro stuff, so I've been slowly getting some cool stuff in, and then some of the stuff that I have, like I still have around 160, 170 boxed Atari games and such, but I won't take those out to the flea market because it's not a good area for them to be, and they'd get ruined because they're in pristine condition.
Yeah.
And I'd rather.
Well, yeah, it's a 30-year-old piece of cardboard, right? It doesn't have that many years left in it. You can't let it get too roughed up.
And I'd rather it go to someone that's a local person that collects. I got that collection for was it $75? I bought 193 box Atari games, and I have sold a couple of them out of there. Like I had a Springer in the box, which that sold for over $300 and something.
Oh,
yeah. I had
no air raids though, right? Or is that the one raid, the really rare one?
Yeah, that's the one. I sold a couple on Game Gavel too, where air raid was on.
Yeah.
But
they had both copies of Air Raid, didn't they? Both of the 2-box ones that went up, didn't they?
I don't remember. I know they did have the latest one that went for like $30-something thousand or something.
Yeah.
That's insane. Who has the money to do that?
Yeah. Either you've been living at home a very, very long time, or you won the lottery.
Yeah, you won bad mama jamma.
Yeah, that's almost how much I make in a year. I have friends that make less than $30,000 a year and live very, very comfortably out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of money to be shelling out for a video game. But then again, if you're a baller, God bless you. If you got the money to buy a game for $30,000, you a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Or a trust fund kid.
That too. Yeah.
I would love to be a trust fund kid. I would have so much more crap than I do right now.
Yeah, well, you'd end up on Hoarders at that point.
Yeah. No, see, I would make my collection look good though. You see some of the people on the internet with some of these just amazing collections. Have you seen the newest one on game collecting subreddit, Kevin?
No.
Oh my lord. Nintendo Twizer. think I said it again. Dude, I swear to God, I try to remember your name. He's been on the show. You always talk about him because he has the most kick-ass collection I've ever seen in my entire life. Here, I'll send you a little link to it. You can pull it up. He just completed his collection of GameCube games, so he has a complete U.S. Of GameCube. But if you look at his collection, he has some other albums that you can look at that are his complete collection, and it is gangster as hell.
Yeah, I mean, GameCube, I guess it's not the most expensive system to collect for, other than there's a large quantity.
Well, it's cheaper than hell to collect for right now.
Yeah. If you're going to go for it, that'd be one to go for. But
that or DS.
Yeah. I'll post on the show notes, I'll post the pictures of his game room, and I might even put it in the this episode of the podcast, so at some point you'll see it on YouTube, the pictures of it. But it's very impressive, because he's actually, some of the shelving he has for his games are custom made. Like, he made them himself, which is even more gangster.
Yeah.
I wish I had that time.
That's it's pretty impressive, because he has an acrylic display case for all the different color Nintendo 64s, and he has all of them. The blue and the regular one, the Pikachu version, all of it. It looks pretty badass. And then he has like another display on his wall for just his Game Boy games, which is pretty sweet. How do you guys? Have we talked about this before? How you display your games?
Me, I kind of hit a point where I ran out of room, because I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, but it's 800 square foot, so it's not like I live in some crappy basement New York City apartment or anything like that. But I still ran out of room, so I got these big plastic 300-pound capacity utility shelves. And I see these other people's collections where it's all scattered out, looking nice. Kind of wish I had that room, but unfortunately I hit the point where I'm double and triple stacking stuff up now in a room completely filled with games. And I just keep filling my bookshelves. I don't know. Well, I know why, but I should maybe figure something out so I stop filling my shelves so quickly. Because I just counted from the stuff I got in the mail today, and I'm up to right around 200 360 games, and that's just physical releases alone, and that's just one single system. And yeah, I just keep filling shelves, so it's nothing but it looks so ugly when it did it, but I don't care. It's all on shelves somehow. But yeah, I just use big plastic utility shelves because it's the only thing that'll fit all my games. That's
not a bad idea. Not everybody can have a whole room dedicated to games like that. What about you?
Yeah, we have an extra bedroom in our house, so I converted that into my game room. And most of my games are on these IKEA media towers. They're these 6-foot towers with kind of adjustable shelves. I suppose they're meant for CDs and DVDs, but I've got my game collection mostly on those, and then some, black wire utility shelves that I have all the systems hooked up to. And I use those because I could tie the cables to the shelves so it looks neat, so you don't have cables going everywhere. Although right now it looks like a complete disaster because I have everything I've ordered for Christmas from Amazon piled up in here right now, so it looks like an episode of Hoarders because there's just boxes everywhere until I wrap all that stuff and get it out of here.
It's a great segue. We want to appreciate that. So, a lot of people are using Amazon, and if you want to help the website out, go to our website, videogamerescue.com, and there's going to be an Amazon link there. You can click there, and we want to thank Hugh for the great segue. That was awesome. Thank you.
That was totally did that on purpose too.
But yeah, that was the shameless plug. But I ordered some stuff off of Amazon here recently too. I got like I said, I'm going to MagFest in January, and I bought a Zoom H4n digital recorder. So I'll be doing some podcasts from there, and I'll be recording some of the the sets too, and I'll probably put them on the podcast and let other people hear them. It's gonna be sweet. But yeah, I used my own link. I clicked it.
Uh-oh. I think that's against the rules. I can't use it because Amazon pulled out of Illinois. At least their affiliate program, they pulled out of Illinois.
Oh, that's balls.
It's one of the 2 states that they pulled out because Illinois passed some weird law that Amazon was opposed to.
Oh, that's right. Something about the sales tax, internet sales tax.
Right. Like they have to collect internet sales tax if you have any affiliates in the state.
And I allegedly clicked my own link.
Right. If anyone from Amazon is listening.
Yeah, I allegedly, that was a figment of my imagination. But, wow. You make a drinking game for my buttums. I got something, I didn't realize that Rob the Robot was so damn expensive.
Yeah, because, it was an early accessory, first generation of the system. And I suppose many people didn't hang on to it. I mean, when I was like 11 or whenever the NES came out, if I got Rob the Robot, I probably at some point would have tied a bottle rocket to him to see what happened.
Yeah, that was common practice back then. But I actually came across one about a month ago, and I just picked it up. I saw it, and I originally just saw him, and I went to go buy it, and he goes, "Oh, here's a bag of his stuff too." I'm like, "Oh snap, crackle and pop." And I was like, I was planning on just paying for just this little robot, and I got all his accessories for. It didn't come with the game, which was sad. But I have all the chips to stack up everything.
Oh yeah, well the games are luckily. That's the cheap part.
Yeah.
Gyromite, I find those in the gutter all the time.
Yeah, I have about 15 of them. No joke. But yeah, I looked up those little chips, and those things are going for like $40 on eBay.
Jeez.
I'm like, what? Like, I'm gonna have this at my store, and who's gonna buy this? Like, I could keep it there. I could have a complete one. I could probably get a box for pretty cheap and have a complete one sitting there for somebody that would want to buy it. But then again, he's gonna come in there and spend $400 on Rob the Robot.
Well, people still buy Virtual Boys, right? I mean,
that's true.
I put it kind of in the same category. I have a Virtual Boy. It's a very proud piece of my collection, but I played it maybe twice.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
you got to get more Virtual Boy time.
Yeah, I just
it's a requirement of owning a Virtual Boy.
Yeah, I mean, my eye doctor told me to stop, but
yeah, I'm one of the few people I know that can play Virtual Boy and not get a headache. I guess I'm fortunate with that somehow.
All the radiation you received from the 80s.
I hope that's a good excuse or something. Yeah, because I ended up getting a full American full set, but it's all 14 of the American games. They're all in box with instructions. Plus, I got the hard case for it from Blockbuster.
Oh, that's gangster.
Yeah, that was probably one of the easiest collections I ever did, because it's the joy of me being 30 years old. When these games were out, I was buying them when they were out. And for some odd reason, I don't know, I guess it's a talent that I can always detect when a system is failing and going in the gutter. So I capitalize on that and just buy as many games as possible.
Yeah.
And I started out getting games for $5 a piece with box and instructions from Blockbuster Video. And then they dropped the price to 99 cents a piece for any game they had, box and instructions and everything for 99 cents. Yeah. So then I ended up with every single Virtual Boy game except for Jack Brothers, which I got for $100 a few years later.
That's pretty badass. I didn't realize you had a full set of those.
Yeah. This is one of my biggest regrets, really, is going into a Blockbuster in 1996 and seeing a bin just filled with 99-cent Virtual Boy games. They were not in the Blockbuster cases. I mean, they were in the original box. I think for a while Blockbuster sold games, and it was just everything 99 cents. And the only thing I bought was Wario Land, because that's the only Virtual Boy game I actually liked. So I bought that, played it a little bit, and in hindsight, I should have bought every single game in that bin and just put it in storage.
It would have been worth the investment to stick it in somewhere like that. But that's one of the things you look back on and be like, damn, But I'm waiting for the Wii to really, they're gonna flush that stuff out on Walmart and stuff like that. Yes,
it's getting close because DS is very right on the brink of that happening. I mean, there's still some games coming out for it, but I mean, I was able to get both the Zelda games complete, and I don't know much about their pricing or anything because I don't really care. But I got them both for like $10 a pop. So, I mean, a first-party game like Zelda, and you're getting it complete for $10. That's a pretty damn good price.
Yeah, I have an in on a buddy that may or may not work for Walmart in a high position. I might call upon his services and tell me whenever they're going to be liquidating a lot of that stuff. I'll just show up and buy it all.
It's the best way to do it. That's how I got most of my N-Gage games. I got it when EB was going out, and so I ended up with a full set of that. And I also did that with Saturn. Saturn was awesome because Best Buy, they didn't feel like sending the games back, so Best Buy was like, I don't care what game it is, any game in these 2 full racks of games is now $5. I wish I had known more about rare games. Instead, I ended up with awesome games, but nothing rare.
Yeah, the Best Buys out by me are doing that with PSP games right now.
Oh, yeah, I need to check into that. That's not a bad idea. Because, I mean, we have, I don't know if you guys have Kmarts near you, but there are 3 Kmarts left here in Jacksonville, which are closing down at the end of this month. And I've already gone to a couple and picked up a couple of things, because everything's 30% off right now. And I'm waiting for it to get to like halfway.
Yeah, that's what I did with Hollywood Video.
Oh man, I miss those guys.
But I got so many great deals from Hollywood Video when they went out.
Yeah, what I got from Hollywood Video that was a great deal was free signage for my game room.
Oh, so, I used to have some of those.
Yeah, I said, hey, that Nintendo sign, what are you doing with that? And like, I don't know. I'm like, can I just take that right now? And they're like, okay. So stuff like that, yeah. Kmart, I don't know if they've got, I don't think the Kmart signage is all that cool, but you can probably score a few things there.
Yeah, I've already put in to buy, they have the cabinets, the glass cabinets. This one says Nintendo and another one says, I think it says Sony or Microsoft, but regardless, I signed up to get those cabinets. So they're supposed to call me whenever the bidding is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So I got 3 stores, 3 chances. Because that would look pretty cool in my store. Have those nice cabinets with the Microsoft logo on it. Maybe repaint them.
Yeah. Yeah, Sears is definitely... Well, I mean, Sears owns Kmart, right? They're all the same company. I know they're hurting because their headquarters is right down this way. And they are trying desperately to hire people for home office because I've had multiple headhunters from their call trying to get me to work over there.
Yeah, that's a bad omen, man. That's a sinking ship you just do not want to jump on.
Yeah, it's like, well, I could get a 50% pay increase because they're desperate, but I'd be unemployed in a year.
Yeah, that's not a good... No one wants to be that, especially you got a family and you got a gaming addiction to keep up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, stretch. But another game that I didn't realize that when I was looking at the guy's complete GameCube collection, that NCAA 2K3 for GameCube was so expensive.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's one of the way more expensive games out of it.
That is,
I think they like. I don't know the exact story. I'm actually kind of making this up, but something with like them stopping production or something like that is about the most I know. But apparently, it's super super hard to get.
Yeah, it's between $50 and $75 on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, if you can believe the internet, it says this is the rarest game for GameCube.
Wow.
Really? So it was a college basketball game, obviously.
Yep.
It wasn't destined to sell very well. I don't know what that means. Sega helped seal the deal when they canceled all 2K series games on the GameCube and stopped this game in the middle of production. So it looks like...
Oh, that's it.
probably didn't ship out to stores. Some of the other ones they mention, it's like this is an article about the 15 rarest GameCube games, and some of these aren't all that rare, really. I mean, they mentioned like Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2. I remember I got that really, really cheap at GameStop because you need the modem to use the online features, and they were just dumping it.
Yeah, I have one of those modems sealed still.
Yeah, hang on to that. That's a cool deal.
Yeah, I got that here, and some of the cool stuff that I have waiting to open up the store, I have in my closet. I have a shelving system in there, and like I have about 42 3DO games in the box, like not only in the CD but the big box too.
Oh yeah.
I have all sorts of like just weird stuff, some box Super Nintendo stuff and Game Boy and 64 stuff. But and I have I think the first 100 Nintendo Powers.
Oh yeah, that might be a like strike while the iron is hot opportunity here, with all the hype about the magazine closing up this month.
Mm-hmm. That's I just completed that. A guy came in that traded in some of the other memorabilia. He had the rest of the beginning of the series because he had traded me a Super Nintendo error of the magazine about 2-3 months ago, and now he came back and sold me that. And he also brought me the last issue, which I hadn't picked up. So if anybody out there is listening to this now, go ahead and stop by your local store and pick up that last issue of Nintendo.
Dude, there's already people scouring trying to find that issue.
Yeah, and
it's already
got mine.
Starting to hit that point.
Yeah, if you have an area where you can go pick it up, I would suggest grabbing a couple copies. But then again, it might end up being the same as the Death of Superman and be insanely expensive, or it's insanely cheap now.
Right? Yeah. I was never into comic books, but I remember that Death of Superman craze.
Yeah, I have two of them. I have one that's open and one that's not.
Then they tried bringing him back, and they had all these crappy super people that they tried bringing back.
Yeah,
they had like Robot Superman and like Superboy. It's like, man, these guys suck. Just fucking bring back Superman. No one cares about Super Robot Man.
Yeah, but that was the last of really the comic book series. But then again, I'm not really, I don't know that much about comics, but it seems like that's where my interest had died, was with the Death of Superman. This is so much about video games. It's unbelievable. Mind-blowing. We're completely off topic, but that's okay. That's what we do here.
Well, they did make the Death and Return of Superman for Super Nintendo.
That's true. Full circle, my friends. Full circle. A real professional there.
Yeah.
But what else? Tell us a little bit more about your website and your podcast. I mean, is there anything you want to tell anybody about?
I've got a website, pewjohnson.com, spelled kind of funky. And I got a ton of articles about retro gaming on there. I mean, that's just most of what I, when I'm not recording the podcast and I have some free time to write about retro gaming, I do a lot of stuff on there. I got like a lot of stories about working at a video game store during the Super Nintendo Genesis era, which I was kind of doing between high school and college when I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself for a few years. A lot of articles about gaming.
That stage.
Yes.
Best stage of life any kid could have.
Yeah. I mean, it was from like age, 17 to 21. I kind of had no clue what I was going to do, and I worked at a video game store that whole time, and it was a cool time. It was, Sega CD launch, 32X, Jaguar, PlayStation. I quit shortly before the the Nintendo 64 launch.
Well, yeah.
It was a good era in gaming.
Yeah.
Well, plus I'm a Sega fan, so all the Sega stuff kind of gets me all giddy.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. I worked I worked at Rhino Video Games. I worked there at the PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube era.
Okay, yeah, that's a fun time too.
Yeah, there was a lot of great games coming out, and it was awesome seeing the battle of Xbox and PlayStation 2 and GameCube and how it all kind of meshed together when you're selling these games. In a specific era, like the new era of gaming systems is about to happen, so that's going to be interesting for, I'm still going to get to experience that in a different fashion.
Oh, you can tell the next generation is right on the brink of it. All all these series of the current generation, like they said.
I think we may have lost Kevin. No.
Yes. But with the next generation, the thing I'm kind of curious about is, is this kind of the end of physical media?
Yeah. That's one thing I am concerned about. When I will be opening the store, is being able to support myself with the games that I have, having a following of people that still be able to play that. Is that even possible?
Yeah.
I'm going to be. I will have to eventually expand into other things, because I was thinking, I've got a buddy that collects toys, and I got a guy he collects Transformers. Will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I should grab knowledge from these people, because instead of being just a retro video gaming store, because that's eventually what I'm going to be. Even if I have 360 stuff and some of the newer stuff that's coming out, it's it's eventually going to be obsolete. That's reality. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to expand into toys and maybe some other retro stuff that people were into in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Yeah, we lost Kevin, and hopefully we can. You
want to try calling him in again?
He should be able to join in on the conference. Because he was part of the original call. Add to conference call. Yeah, but anyways, that's one thing I'm going to have to look into is what were you saying about that store?
Oh yeah, so there's a store. It's up in Sheboygan. It's like one of these little tourist towns, and there's a store there called Freak Toys, and it's like a dream store for nerds who love retro gaming and just sort of retro items from the 80s and 90s, and even a little bit of like 70s toys in there too. But this guy, and when I've talked to him before, it seems like he went the same path you did, where he had like a flea market store and then expanded that into a full-blown store. And he's got games from just about every game system. Last time I was there, I picked up some Box Jaguar games from him, for example.
Well, that's awesome.
And he's got comic books, sealed action figures. I mean, you name the action figure series, he's got them up there. Old D&D books for people into that.
Yeah.
Things like that. It all fits very well together. It's just a very nice theme of, here are all these things from your childhood. If you're a Gen X or Gen Y, or although I suppose Gen Y isn't the term they use anymore. Millennial, is that the right term? But if you're a Gen Xer or millennial, you're right. All these toys from your childhood in this one spot.
That's great. Yeah, that's probably something I'm going to have to expand into to be able to keep the engine rolling, as far as being able to keep living the dream, being the boss.
Yeah. I always wonder if there's a market for like old computers too. Not PCs, but more like C64, Apple, that kind of stuff. Once people find out you're like an old game collector, they tend to drop off stuff at your house sometimes. Yeah. I don't know if you ever had that happen.
Yeah.
And someone dropped off this huge box of like Commodore 64 stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not really a Commodore 64 guy though,
yeah, but it's pretty neat. I mean, I had one boxed a couple years ago. Before I sold my collection, that was part of my collection. Is I had one in a box, and that thing, it was so cool. It's just big and bulky, and it was just, I never played it. I never had any interest to, but it was cool to know that I had it.
Yeah. Well, so where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I eventually said I got to get rid of this Commodore 64 stuff. Years later, and one of the things I had was an external drive for the Commodore 64. I forget if it was a 3.5 or 5.25 inch drive. It had to be 5.25 inch. But some guy in UK spent $100 on that.
Wow.
And I'm like, really? For just a Commodore drive? And it turns out there's really not a way to make it. And the thing that shocked me is another guy that I knew dropped off a bunch of Apple II stuff at my house. And then it was sitting around here forever. And Apple II I actually like, so I kept a lot of it. But he had one really weird item in there, which was like a card you plugged into the Apple II. And then it had a cable coming out of the back that you could plug into a PC 5.25 inch drive to copy. It was meant to copy Apple II discs to PC, basically.
That's really interesting. 'Cause, I mean, how would you even go back about finding that kind of stuff? But
yeah.
What up?
Anyways, I got $200 on eBay, so I ended up having to drop by that guy's desk and
help him out a little bit.
His finder's fee. Yeah, I split it 50-50 with him.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. All right, Kevin's back.
Yeah, that's the joy of having a failing video card. And having to make a decision of taking the video card out since it's XFX and it has double lifetime warranty, but that means I have no video card, or waiting for it to completely die. And unfortunately, with making that decision, it will make my computer crap out every now and again.
That sucks, man. Hopefully we can get that fixed, 'cause that sucks. Yeah, we dropped you and we stopped recording for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. We may have lost it. Maybe I can edit it in there. Nobody will tell. The only way it would be tell is me telling them now.
Right.
Dude, it only happens whenever there's another person on the show.
Yeah, we might need to switch to the Google way of things.
Yeah, you could. Like I said, that's been more reliable for us. Skype was very, very problematic for us. And it's funny because I use Skype for work. Whenever I've got to make calls for work, I almost always use Skype. Because I end up on like these hour-long conference calls, and I don't want to burn up cell minutes on that.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
And that works perfectly. But 3 or more people, boom.
Yeah, we'll have to get Kevin's computer fixed first, and then we'll move to getting cameras.
Yeah, it's a matter of me weighing it out, because that's why I bought an XFX, because if it breaks, I don't have to pay to replace it because of the double lifetime warranty. But the thing I forgot about is while that happens, I don't have a video card and I have onboard video. And for a guy like me, onboard video is kind of a problem.
Well, yeah, I have I don't forget what kind of video card I have. I built this machine to play that new Star Wars MMO, because I got the beta invite and then I built the computer, and then ended up playing it so much in the beta over and over and over again. I didn't even buy the game.
Huh. And now I own the $150 super special edition of it, and I play it like once a month for like 4 hours.
Just get your kicks out of it. I mean, at least I knew enough not to actually buy it. I knew I wouldn't play it.
I just wanted the awesome statue.
Yeah, I literally run Linux. I don't even know if I can play games on my PC.
Oh wow.
I guess they're bringing Steam to Linux. That I've read that recently, because Linux can run OpenGL. But I don't, I got so many game systems. I never think of playing games on the computer.
Yeah, Steam is pretty awesome, and so is GOG. Actually, right now GOG has GOG.com. Mm-hmm. They have Duke Nukem 3D for free on their website. So you can go on there, sign up for an account, and download the full game for free.
The sale they've got right now that looks really great is this. They're calling it the Quest for Sierra bundle for $19.92. Very strange price. It's Quest for Glory 1 through 5, King's Quest 1 through 8, Space Quest 1 through 6, Police Quest 1 through 4. That is a lot of games, and those are all. I mean, if you try and play King's Quest without a hint book, that is several hundred hours of playtime right there.
Wow, it's crazy that they still have games like that are just you have to have the manual for. That they've pretty much dumbed everything down so much now that kind of game is just non-existent.
That's actually something funny that I wanted to talk about when we start recording, is because I don't know if you guys played it, but I figured I'd share my experiences playing Metal Gear Solid 4, because the last Metal Gear game I played was Metal Gear Solid 1, so I'm still a pretty fresh face to it, and the whole game is like a movie. You seriously play for like 3 to 5 minutes, then watch a 20 to 30 minute cutscene, and I'm not exaggerating the times either.
Yeah, I've heard that they're pretty insane. I haven't played them. It's not my type of game.
Yeah, we had talked about this on the Retro League. This and Snatcher, which obviously are by the same producer. I can't pronounce his name because I'm horrible at. I barely get English names down, so wish me luck on Japanese ones. But it's the same producer, and we wondered why there aren't YouTube videos that are just playthroughs of those games without any of the action sequences. Like, just here's the story of Snatcher, and you could just play all the cutscenes and understand everything going on in that game. And same for Metal Gear Solid, I think.
Yeah, I can't commit myself to something like that. I mean, I like the action adventure side scroller. I can play it for 5 or 10 minutes, put it down, and go do something else. now as an adult, I just don't have time to spend hours upon hours playing games or spending 30 minutes watching some cutscene. I just can't do it. I mean, that's probably why I like Fable so much, because I can pop in, play for 5 minutes, and pop out, and I still get a good story out of it.
That's why I like Shadow of the Colossus. I'm very new to that game, too. That's the second new one I started playing.
I've come across that one a couple times and haven't picked it up. I think next time I will. I've been having a hankering for going back and playing some of the PS2 games. That's how it starts. That's how it starts for me, going from collecting SNES to start picking up PS2 titles.
Wait, are we recording right now?
Yes, we are.
No.
Oh, we are? Oh.
Yeah.
You gonna say something bad?
I just had to make sure, because I was thinking of stuff, and it's like, should I say this or not? And that's okay, because this little part right here you can edit out, or you can leave me sounding like an idiot. It would not be the first time, and I would not care. But yeah, with Shadow of the Colossus, I had never played the game, but I got, because Newegg was selling the Ico Shadow of the Colossus HD collection on PS3 for like $15 shipped or something like that, so I got that. And I don't know if you've seen a picture of my setup for PS3, but I have a 100-foot, or not, I don't know why I always say foot, but I have a 100-inch HD projector.
Nice.
And I had never played Shadow of the Colossus before. Oh yeah, I also got 7.1 sound. Yeah, I'm a single guy, so I can do stuff like that to my living room. But it's like I had never played Shadow of the Colossus, knew nothing about it besides like every level was just a big massive boss, and it's about the most epic experience I've ever had. And I say I've ever had because, like, I'm pretty sure, like, skydiving in real life is probably way more epic. But, like, the HD collection on a 100-foot projector with 7.1 surround sound, it's seriously the coolest game I've ever played now.
That's pretty awesome. That's a pretty good endorsement then, because, like I said, I've come across it a couple times and haven't taken it home. I've always just, passed it on to somebody else, or this last one I had, I sold in the store, and the guy was happy to pay for it.
I'll have to take a picture or something to show people the epicness I'm talking about, because when I got my projector, I got it brand new from Amazon for like $350, and I got it brand new, so, no big deal. And I couldn't really find anything that was epic and cool enough to play on it, so I have just been playing my Genesis on it. I mean, I figured that was good enough, and then this came along. I thought it was a good reason, and the reason why I keep talking about it is because it's so epic and mind-blowing to where it's hard for me to not think about it, just because I'm sitting in front of a projector with those massive-ass bosses. It's just amazing. And I suggest everybody pick up a Toshiba projector. The cheap ones work just fine, because that's what I have, and it's worked for over 5 years.
Nice.
I haven't. Little segue into shopping at Amazon again, because it's where I got mine. Got it for $350, and it seriously worked for like 5+ years.
Yeah, I haven't played on a projector in so long. What about you, Hugh? What's your TV of choice?
I have. I actually had a really great CRT TV for years, but the sound on it went out. Oh. So I just switched to my game room. It's not a huge room. I've got a 33-inch flat screen TV in here, mostly because I mostly have retro systems hooked up to it. So it's on like a TV stand. And I picked this model because it has the most inputs of any TV I could find.
Yeah,
so it had S-video inputs, which you can't find anymore for some reason.
Yeah,
they build you regular audio video, but not S-video anymore. And then component and 3 HDMI's.
Yeah,
so
that's nice.
I can hook up close to 15 systems to it with switcher boxes.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, because I mean that's one of the things that you see when you get these TVs. Like, I have a nice plasma in the front room, and I go to start plugging stuff up to it, and I pull out the box for the first time, and set up, and I'm like, damn it, I looked at the picture quality and the size of the TV and did not even think about the plug-ups on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had to buy, just to hook up everything to it, I had to buy a HDMI box, HDMI converter box for some of these systems. Like the old things that didn't have S-video output, basically. So what am I looking at here? Well, like Super Nintendo, Jaguar, that kind of stuff that doesn't have S-video. So I had to get a HDMI converter box, and it took a little while to figure out how to get that thing to really look right.
Yeah, I'm sure it could be quite the task getting all these different systems from all these different generations to play on the, one TV.
I'll tell you what, though, the 3DO looks amazing on this thing. I was surprised how good that looks with an S-video hookup.
I have both the systems and all those games, and I have yet to pick it up. I have some great titles in there, too. I have like Street Fighter. I have Street Fighter Alpha. What else do I have? I have Shockwave 1 and 2. I've got some pretty awesome games in it. I really should check that out. It's just a matter of finding time to do it. But we are rolling up on a little over an hour now. Where can people find you? Your website, your YouTube channel, all that stuff.
You can go out to theretroleague.com, and we've got links to all this stuff out there. My personal website is hughjohnson.com, Hugues, Johnson.com. It's probably a long story. If you search for, Electronics Boutique Catalog, you'll probably find my website, because I have about a dozen of those old catalogs scanned and up on my site. That's what people visit my site for more than anything else, not these articles and stuff, but for these giant pictures I have of old video game catalogs.
That is pretty neat. All right, well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and hopefully we can have you guys on sometime in the future again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was fun. Good luck with the store, and hope to see you at Midwest Gaming Classic one year.
Definitely. I'll get a hold of you if we go. But thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate it. Make sure you go to the website, videogamerescue.com, episode 34, or /34. Like us on Facebook, and we really appreciate it. Make sure you keep retro gaming and bring an old friend back to life. See you.